10 minutes to 7 is the time. Good morning to you. Now, this week, we've learnt loads, haven't we, about the menopause. Nina?
Biscuits.
Biscuits. That was a big biscuit. Here's a fact for you, and this is one that worries me quite a bit. Women can lose up to 20% of their bone density in the first 5 to 7 years after the menopause. That's really worrying.
And that's one of the implications of drugs help as well, isn't it? Trying to counteract it and increase the density of the bones. So that's just one of the ways to help combat that. Through that is, of course, exercise. And Louise can tell us more, of course. Morning, Louise. Looks beautiful there in Birmingham.
Oh, thank you very much, John. Let me just show you a little bit round. We are at the Botanical Gardens. Over there behind me is the aviary. You might be able to hear the peacocks that have been quite chatty here this morning. That's the aviary. Behind there is the butterfly garden. We have, of course, brought the BBC Breakfast Sofa, where we will continue this conversation, which I started with Naga and Sally and Carol right at the beginning of this week. And you have all joined in your hundreds. Thank you so much for all of those messages. As Naga and John were just saying, one of the side effects of menopause is osteoporosis, and that can have really serious medical implications. We need strong bones. To do that, exercise is a great thing to do. And look at these wonderful ladies. They are part of the Meno fitness exercise group. Jane has joined in, and Fiona Lamdin has been out training with them.
It's 5 o'clock, but these women in Birmingham aren't leaving the office just yet. They're all heading up to the top floor for a workout dedicated to those going through the menopause.
How are you feeling?
Julie, otherwise known as the Meno Ninja,
We'll step to the side, step.
is a former PE teacher, so she's perfectly positioned to run the class.
When I was 36, I had to have a hysterectomy, but because there was breast cancer in the family, and in fact 3 of them died of breast cancer, I was told not to take HRT. So I've really had to keep up my exercise, but I've now found that I have got mild osteoporosis. So it's even more important for me to do the right kind of exercise to hold that at bay.
And all Julie's students have one thing in common. They're all going through the menopause.
All of a sudden, you know, I used to go to bed with my cosy pyjamas on, and now you go to bed, you last a minute with your cosy pyjamas, and before you know it, you're flinging everything off because of the night sweat.
Suddenly you see somebody fanning themselves or wanting to open the window, you understand what it's all about. Whereas before, I just wasn't aware.
You're doing the class with people who are going through the same thing as you know, so that's much better than in some ways the gym, which could be quite sort of off-putting.
So I'm 43, I haven't yet reached the menopause, but what I've learnt today is that the exercise I do now, hopping, will have a huge benefit for when I do reach that milestone, because it's all about building and keeping bone density.
And the denser your bones, the more likely you are not to develop osteoporosis, a disease which thins your bones.
Bone is a living tissue, and we're building it up to about the age of 30, and that's called your peak bone mass. Once you hit your peak bone mass, it stays around about the same until the age of 40, and then there's about a 0.5% loss per year. Then when women hit the menopause, that bone loss can be quite severe in some women, to around about 20 to 30% loss of all of their bone density within 8 to 10 years. So keep moving. One of our studies has found just daily exercise, keeping yourself moving every day, is beneficial. Even just 10,000 steps per day can help.
See, you haven't got brain fog anymore.
So one answer to the challenges menopause brings is to keep exercising together. These women say it's a tonic for both mind and body.
And then we push up. Oh, it's hard, isn't it?
Fiona Lamdin, BBC News.
Well, you know what? You've got to join in, haven't you? It's absolutely brilliant being out here this morning. I want to talk to you all, if I'm disturbing you, a little bit. Tell us a little bit about how menopause makes you feel.
Dizzy most of the time, but
okay.
forgetful. hot flushes and all the usual stuff. Being in a supermarket in a T-shirt when everybody's in winter clothes and that sort of thing. But getting through it now, so that's the main thing.
Oh, well, I'm going to let you go. Come on then, I'm going to move down the line here. She was talking very much about the sort of physical symptoms. Do you have psychological symptoms?
Yes, I think it's sometimes really hard to feel and cope with the emotion of it all sometimes. You feel very up, you feel very down, you feel very angry, you feel overwhelmed. So it's a lot of emotions, yes.
And they sort of come at you from nowhere, don't they?
From nowhere, sort of out of the blue completely. And
how does this make you feel?
Oh, fantastic, yes, absolutely brilliant. Julie's an amazing instructor and she does fantastic work for all the girls. We love it.
Oh, and one of the things that I've learned this week is there are so many different symptoms. I've been playing menopause bingo with my friends. There are about 34 symptoms. So how does it affect you?
Pretty much the same as the other ladies, you know, physical symptoms and mental symptoms, feeling depressed, tired, hot all the time. Yeah, pretty dreadful, really.
And when did you realise that was what was going on?
Probably 4 or 5 years ago, and my symptoms have got worse, so I'm probably one of the unfortunate ones.
Oh, yes, well, and this makes you feel better?
It does, yes, it does, absolutely.
I want to end on a note of optimism. Come and talk to this young lady here. You're through it, aren't you?
I'm through it, and it's wonderful, and it's all thanks to good exercise and support from other people, and especially my Meno sisters.
Really? And that is because you know so many of us are still going through it, and there seems like there's no end. But when it does come to an end,
it's lovely. And it's great, but you've always probably got a lifestyle too, because if you've been exercising, you just feel good. It's just wonderful. So yes, there's a way out.
Thank you so much. Well, in the next few hours here on Breakfast this morning, we're talking about healthy, we're talking about happy, we're also talking about relationships. And Meg Matthews has done this most wonderful interview with her daughter, her teenage daughter, Anais, about how they've coped with it. We'll see that a little bit later. And also, just to let you know, the Listening Project is here. I'm sure lots of you will have heard that. Some of our conversations, and let's face it, we cannot stop talking about this now, are going to be on Radio 4, recorded for posterity. Right now, should we catch the news, travel and the weather wherever you are? Bye-bye.